Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to do urban legends from Georgia. Hope you enjoy. The first urban legend takes place at Lake Lanier. Empty ghost towns drag people down to the bottom of a cursed lake. In northern Georgia sits Lake Lanier, a massive human-made lake with a dark history. In order to get it to the depth they wanted, the U.S. government bought or forced out over 250 families, 15 businesses, and 20 cemeteries, so they could fill over 50,000 acres of prime farmland with water. At the bottom of the lake, Lanier, are entire intact ghost towns, left as they were when the government flooded them. This lake is famous for deaths and accidents ranging from boating accidents and drownings to cars careening off the road and into the lake for no apparent reason. Survivors of various accidents have reported feeling as if invisible hands were dragging them deep beneath the water. In 2011 alone, there was nearly 20 mysterious deaths. The next urban legend is the Cove Hotel. The Cove Hotel houses the ghosts of 119 victims of a terrible fire. In 1946, a fire in the Cove Hotel took 119 lives. This was the largest hotel fire in U.S. history. Much like the Titanic, the Cove was thought to be fireproof, and so its builders didn't bother installing fire doors, or fire escapes, sprinklers, or an alarm system. During the fire department lacked nets or ladders able to deal with a building of its height. Some people were so terrified and desperate to escape from the doomed upper floors that they leapt out of the windows, directly into inadequate nets. Today, the hotel still stands in Atlanta under the name the Ellis Hotel. Employees and guests report seeing ghosts and smelling smoke. The next urban legend is Fort Mountain. At Fort Mountain, a man took a photo so terrifying that the shock killed him. According to legend, a young man once visited Fort Mountain with his friends and asked the other man to take a picture of him. The friend took the picture and immediately screamed and fainted, only to die in the hospital of a heart attack 2 days later. The picture he had taken showed the figure of a ghostly woman hovering next to his friend. The next urban legend is called Crybaby Bridge. A weeping child's ghost can be heard at Crybaby Bridge. There are numerous versions of the story of Crybaby Bridge. In some, a child accidentally drowned in the creek below the bridge. In others, one of the child's parents murdered him. Regardless, if you drive to Crybaby Bridge in Columbus, Georgia, you can still hear the child crying. The next urban legend is called The Curse. An evangelist preacher called down a tornado as a curse on his town. In Augusta, Georgia, a pillar once stood in the middle of one of the town's markets. When an evangelist wanted to preach beside it and was denied by authorities, he put a curse on the town. He said that everything in the town would be blown away except for the pillar. A tornado then tore through the market and destroyed everything, leaving the pillar untouched. Accounts dating as recently as the 1950s show that anyone who tries to move the pillar meets an unfortunate fate. The next urban legend is called the Creepy House. The visitors to the creepy house will be accosted or even possessed by a ghostly old man. A private residence in Roswell, Georgia, known as the Creepy House, has been highly trafficked by paranormal investigators. It is believed that horrific child abuse occurred in the house, and that the body of a young girl is even buried in the basement. The spirit of an angry old man is known to yell at anyone who comes onto the property and has reportedly even tried to possess people. The next urban legend is at the old Lawrenceville Jail. At the old Lawrenceville jail, a murdered slave sings a ghostly song. In 1840, a slave owner tried to attack a slave named Alec, but ended up falling and impaling himself on the sword he had drawn. The man died, and Alec was falsely accused of his murder and sentenced to hang for it. He was chained up in Lawrenceville jail in Lawrenceville, Georgia, prior to his hanging. It's said that you can still feel Eric's presence and hear his sad song in the prison. The next urban legend is called Waterheads. The Waterheads of Smyrna, Georgia want candy bars. This covered bridge in Smyrna, Georgia is supposedly the home of countless waterheads, or children who died at the creek beneath the bridge. According to legend, if you park your car on the bridge, turn it off, and place a Snicker bar on top, a child ghost will scramble on top of your car to try and get the candy bar. If I were you, I would just let the child have his candy bar. The next urban legend is called the Kennesaw Hotel. The Kennesaw House is haunted by sick and wounded Confederate soldiers. This Marriott house was a military hospital for Confederate soldiers during the 1860s. Considering the gruesome wounds and primitive health practices and tools of the time, this house saw countless deaths and a lot of gory suffering, which you can still hear and witness in the basement in the form of screaming apparitions. This place is a ghost hunter hotspot, and it's estimated that there are hundreds of spirits trapped in the Kennesaw house. The next urban legend is called the Patron Inn. The Patron Inn is haunted by a grieving bride. Augusta, Georgia's historic Patron Inn is a charming hotel with a number of ghosts attached to it. One is the ghost of a beautiful young woman named Emily, who can be seen wandering the halls in her wedding dress. On his way to their wedding, her fiancé was mistaken for a treasonous soldier and shot on sight. When news of his death reached Emily, she wore her wedding dress for weeks before dying of a broken heart. The next urban legend is Jekyll Island Hotel. The wealthy and powerful of the past centuries still haunt the Jekyll Island Hotel. Outside of having a creepy name, this hotel was once the hangout spot of the America's most wealthy and influential. The Vanderbilts, Morgans, and Pulitzers were amongst its regular guests. It's rumored that the ghost of Samuel Spencer, deceased railroad magnate, can still be seen at the Jekyll. He apparently enjoyed his morning coffee and newspaper almost daily in a suite in the annex. Ghosts of former employees can also still be seen performing their duties as well. The next urban legend is called the Statue. The statue of a dead little girl weeps and cries blood. The Bonaventure Cemetery is over 200 years old and houses numerous beautiful statues. One was built in the honor of little Gracie, who died of pneumonia at the age of 6. Now people leave little gifts for Gracie at the statue's feet. Sometimes visitors even see glimpses of the beautiful little girl. The next urban legend takes place at the Masquerade Nightclub. A vampire prowls Atlanta's Masquerade Nightclub. While Atlanta's Masquerade Nightclub looks incredibly creepy on its own, it's also home to several ghosts. There is a tall man who has been seen roaming the building at night. This place also has everything from freak accidents to disembodied screams to an unexplained fire. Several employees even died of tuberculosis. The nightclub is also rumored to be the home of an actual vampire. The next urban legend is at the Roswell Mill House. Spirits protect the Roswell Mill House and won't allow any renovations. In the 1990s, a woman bought an old mill house in Roswell, Georgia, and attempted to set up a business there. She tried to renovate and repair the building several times, only to find it drenched in water and all of the changes undone. She called in a psychic medium, who found 5 spirits in the house, the long-dead wives of mill workers whose husbands had left to fight in the Civil War. One spirit, Catherine, complained about fire in the walls. She had flooded the house trying to put out the fire or electricity the woman had installed in the home. The next urban legend takes place at the Colonial Park Cemetery. The ghost of a serial killer walks Colonial Park Cemetery. Colonial Park Cemetery in Savannah, Georgia, is home to numerous urban legends and myths. And one of the most popular is that of a serial killer, Rain Raudoller. This distinctive ghost is said to be seen stalking the cemetery, a shadowy figure a staggering 7 feet tall. According to legend, Rondolier was caught murdering 2 young girls in the cemetery and killed by an angry mob. His figure can still be seen walking amongst the graves. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave a like. If you have not yet subscribed to me, please subscribe and turn the bell notification on. I post every day. And soon, once the states are done, I'm doing out of country urban legends. So stay tuned for that. Now, leave in the comment section which one you thought was scary, creepy, or not that scary. Because some of these are not scary. Or if you'd ever visit these places.